Hope everybody enjoyed his relative. Uh, your holiday weekend. Again, holidays are relevant. Veterans like myself don't approach Memorial Day with glee um, because of what it's a remembrance of. It's a remembrance of loss of life of military members. Being a part of the Vietnam War, saw a lot of that. So my approach to Memorial Day is respectful and mindful and remindful. So with all that being said, I hope yours was respectful, and I hope you were able to get together with family members, particularly those of you who may have military members in your family, and hope it was an enjoyable occasion. So, all that out of the way, let's start talking about something that is very misunderstood. Um, it's titled States of Consciousness, and it deals with awareness. So we have two states of consciousness, and it's broken down into a million parts, and that's what this is going to be all about, this lecture. It'll be a long lecture, by the way, so get yourself a snack. What is consciousness? It's an organism's awareness of its own self and its surroundings. It's not doesn't say human, it says an organism. So you go to swat a fly, it's not going to just sit there and let you kill it. It's going to try to escape. So it's aware of its surroundings. It's aware of its own self. It's not thinking like you and I do. If they are, it's kind of spooky. But there's some kind of an instinctual process that takes place. So that's what consciousness is. Waking consciousness. There's a second type of consciousness. This is one that is the beginning of kind of a shock to people. It's called an alternate state. Alternate states of consciousness. What is that? It's mental states that are other than ordinary waking consciousness. So when I'm asleep, I'm in an alternate state of consciousness. I'm not unconscious. I'm in an alternate state of consciousness. It's almost like I'm awake and asleep at the same time. Basically, you are. It occurs, and this includes things like dreaming. If you use psychoactive drugs, hope you don't. If you do, you're in a psychoactive drug situation, for lack of a better word. That's an alternate state of consciousness. Drunkenness, alternate state of consciousness. Hypnosis, alternate state of consciousness. Meditation, alternate state of consciousness. So we have these alternate states. We have waking consciousness, which is hopefully where you're at the moment. And then you have alternate states of consciousness, which is where you're going to be when you go to sleep, whether you fall asleep during the day out of being tired or whatever the case is. So, alternate states, pardon me. Well, we have to consider something else here. How do we get into these situations? Okay, you heard me say awareness a while ago. Aware of your surroundings and yourself. We're aware of our surroundings. We're aware of ourselves, as most things are. There's even a study about plants' potential awareness. That's odd. I won't go deeply into it, but that was a study done back about 20 years ago where they attached ECG, I think it was, and they plucked a leaf off a plant and they got the same readout as though they had them attached to a person and they had pinched the person. They got the very same readout. So I don't know what that means, but it happened. So next time you mow the grass, you probably hear it screaming, please stop. Levels of awareness. That's what we're dealing with right now. Awareness. Levels of this. High awareness. It's the first of 3 major levels and 1 sublevel. Levels of awareness. High awareness. What occurs here? Things that we call controlled processes. What are controlled processes? Processes that require focused maximum attention. Focused maximum attention. When you were learning to drive, you were at a high level of awareness. I think I've mentioned it before. I fly airplanes. When I'm flying an airplane, particularly when I'm landing, I'm at a very high level of awareness. Landing is the most difficult and dangerous part of flying. The rest of it's okay. Taking off is kind of rough. So high level of awareness. Focused maximum attention. You have to concentrate. Your brain doesn't like that. Doesn't mean that it can't do it. It's just not something that your brain prefers. Your brain is a very curious thing. It likes to wander around, daydream. Talk about that in a minute. So when I'm at a high level of awareness, I'm working. When you're studying, if you're studying correctly, you're doing a elaborative rehearsal. It's a way to study. That's concentration. It'll make you tired, make you very tired. So bear that in mind. Controlled processes, required focused maximum attention. Now you're learning to drive. I'm going to use it again in just a moment. Matter of fact, I can use it right now, because the next level down from that is called middle awareness. Middle awareness, what does that involve? Automatic processes. Some call it second nature. Don't call it that. Automatic processes, excuse me, requires minimal attention. What does that mean? Driving a car, let's use that again. I'm past the point of where I'm white knuckles on the steering wheel because I'm gripping it so tight. Now I'm kicked back with a wrist on top, listening to some loud music, probably speeding, I hope not. Going down the road, I'm not concentrating like I did when I was first learning to drive. I don't have a driving instructor sitting there next to me. So I relax a bit. I let things happen. Automatic processes. If you want to call it second nature, be my guest, but that's really not correct. What else can happen here? Whoa, daydreaming. Daydreaming occurs in the middle level of awareness. So I'm driving down the road, and the next thing I know, I'm where I was headed to. You ever done that? You leave somewhere and you wind up where you wanted to go to, and you're in between those 2 points, you're going, I don't even remember driving here because my brain was somewhere else. It's in the middle level of awareness. You weren't concentrating. Fortunately for some, they have enough experience, and you do have this peripheral stuff going on, recognition, so that in most cases, or I should say some cases, you don't run the red light that you didn't even see, but for some reason you stop. Yeah, your brain recorded it. You processed it below the level of awareness. I'll get to that in a minute. So I process enough to get me safely to where I'm going, but not always. Distractions occur. Thoughts. Sometimes thoughts are an enemy. Instead of thinking about driving and being safe, my mind is on the upcoming final, or I just had an argument with my friend, or whatever the case is. You make one up. Or I'm just daydreaming. Boy, I'm going to the beach next week. Can't wait. I know what I want to do when I get there. Blah, blah, blah. And then bam, run into somebody's rear end. Now you're not going to the beach, because you just got a ticket for not paying attention. Middle awareness is good. In some cases, gives you some relaxation. Some cases, it's a bad thing. You got to think when you do some things. I cannot imagine flying an airplane in a middle level of awareness. I probably wouldn't be sitting here talking to you if I did that. I'd fly into the ground. Now here is what I mentioned a while ago. We have high level of awareness, middle level of awareness. And now within the middle level of awareness, we have something else that happens. It's the involvement of the subconscious. You actually are at or below the level of awareness. So I may still be conscious, but I am below the level of awareness. What's a good example of that? It's 5-letter words called sleep. I go to bed, I go through the sleep stages. We'll talk about those if we have time in this particular lecture. And now I'm asleep. What happens to me? Do I dream? Well, we'll get into that too. So I'm asleep. Means I'm conscious below the level of awareness. I'm not aware that there's anything going on around me, but guess what is aware? All 5 of your senses. So they're processing things. Why do you think you can get awakened by a loud noise? If somebody walks into your room with a high-powered flashlight, shines it in your eyes, most likely you're going to wake up because senses don't stop working. The awareness factor lowers. So now I'm asleep, but senses are working and I can be awakened depending on what stage of sleep you're in. And we'll talk about that again later. So it's a middle level of awareness, but it's below the level of awareness. Now, I know it's hard to understand. Within this also, and I won't really beat this up too much, subliminal perception. That's the ability that your brain has to process something and you don't even know it. So I see the red light. I don't see the red light, but my brain, my eye sees it, detects it. It's below my level of awareness because I'm daydreaming, and I stop the car. And then I realize pretty quickly, oh, yeah, red light. So subliminal perception, sleep, dreaming occurs in the stage called REM, rapid eye movement, sleep. Doesn't occur anywhere else, not the storyline dreams, at least. So when I'm sleeping, when I'm dreaming, if I'm experiencing subliminal perception, then I'm below the level of awareness, but I'm in the middle level of awareness. No, I know it's confusing. I'm at the middle level, but I'm not necessarily totally aware. And I'll make it even worse for you. The last level, low awareness. Called low awareness actually can be considered no awareness. This is biological. What happens here? No awareness. Boom. This is unconscious. This is when you have no level of awareness whatsoever. You have no middle level of awareness. You have no high level of awareness. You have no awareness. How do you get into that state? You get hit in the head, get knocked out. You're getting ready to have surgery. They give you anesthesia. Boom, when it starts working. And then a bad one, coma. Coma is no level of awareness. Now here's a caveat. It's kind of scary, and there's more and more information coming forth as I speak to you. Coma may not be as well understood as it once was thought to be. Coma used to be considered no awareness. Now the scientists are going, scratching their head and going, got a little problem here. Not too sure that there is no awareness in a coma, which could have some significant repercussions, as in medically induced coma for those who need to be in a coma so that some medical procedures can take place. Not saying anesthesia. This is beyond anesthesia. Burn victims, severely burned victims, most always are put into medically induced coma. If you're not totally unaware, guess what? There's still a pain level there. So a lot of studies. That's in the medical side. That's not a psychological side. Just passing that along to you. So no awareness. I don't know how many, raise your hand, how many has had a concussion? I can't see your hands, obviously. I've had 5 of those things. Knocked completely out. No awareness. It's probably why I'm goofy now. So, yeah, low awareness. High level, middle level, low level equals no level. Now, let's get into something that'll excite you. This is in the realm of sleep and dreams. I'm going to run through some things real quickly here. If I'm teaching this in class, in a traditional lecture, this is a long unit. I'm going to cut some of it out. Basically, I want to pass along some things that help you understand this better. Number 1, you need 8 hours of sleep a day. True or false? The answer is false. You don't need 8 hours a day. It depends on who you are. Some people get by on less than that. It's a recommendation. I recommend you need 8 hours. Well, I get 6. I feel great. 6 hours sleep is all I need. I've gotten by on a lot less than that, especially when I was in the Marine Corps. You can learn a complicated activity while you sleep. No. Such as a foreign language. No. Can I remember a word here and there? Yeah. But the part of your brain that's needed to learn complicated stuff is actually taking a little break. It's not turned off. It's just not highly active. So no, you're not gonna learn. So you may hear it by repetition and remember it for a little while, but you're not gonna learn it. Some people never dream. The answer is true and false. Some people never dream. If you're normal, you dream. Why do you think you don't? It's because you don't remember it. People that don't dream, who have been put on a EEG and they find out that they're never entering into the waves aren't there that indicate a dream, have some sort of sleep disorder. So if you don't have a sleep disorder, you dream. If you say no, I don't, it's yeah, you do. You just don't remember your dream. It takes a lot to put something into memory. Your dreams only last a few seconds, regardless of the actual length, or you think your dream. This gets complicated. Dreams last as long as they last. If it's a 15-minute ordeal, it lasted 15 minutes. If it's a few seconds, it lasted a few seconds. There's no time warp here. And then finally, if you dream about death, it'll kill you. No, it won't. People report dreaming about dying, falling off something, hitting the bottom, etc. It's not going to kill you. Now, if you have a heart condition, serious heart condition, and you dream about something that scares the out of you, hey, who's to say that didn't kill you? You can't ask a dead person. They don't have any answers. So we can only deal with the the alive people, and some say, yeah, I've dreamed about it. Yeah, I dreamed about death, and I'm still here. I'm telling you about it. So, leads me to the circadian rhythm. How do we mess this stuff up? You have a 24 day-night clock. If you're, quote, normal, then your body, your brain and body are aroused during the daylight. And then at night, the arousal lowers. You go night-night. So 24-hour day-night cycle. Higher level of arousal in the daytime, lower level at night. This is thought to be the product of evolution. Now, we don't teach evolution necessarily in a Christian college. But I'm not talking about how we became human beings here. I'm talking about after we were created and here we are, then the demands of being a human being in ancient times required you to be alert during the day, protective and protect yourself and going hunting, because we didn't run around with we didn't run down to the local food line. We had to go out and kill things. So you had to be highly aroused during the day to go find them. And then at night, crawl back in the cave, way back inside and go night-night, trying to get away from things that want to kill you. If you mess that deal up, if you stay up too late, you don't get enough rest for your body and mind, and you begin to mess up the circadian rhythm, then eventually at some point you potentially can develop physical and psychological problems. You get sick more often, you can't concentrate. If you work somewhere, your productivity goes down, your mood gets yucky. You could even have accidents based on the fact you can't concentrate. So you need to go to bed when it's time to go to bed. You need to get up when it's time to get up. Don't try to monkey with that. Your job may demand it, and studies done with law enforcement, airline pilots, so on and so forth, people that work all hours, nurses, docs, whatever the case is, the studies indicate that you have that those folks. I'm sorry, I'm thinking about those statistics while I'm telling you. Accident rate goes up, so I'm trying to get my mouth to say. So if I'm messing up that circadian rhythm, then the potential for these things I named is there. Now, can I switch it? And the answer is no. You can't intentionally switch your circadian rhythm. What your body might do is it may adapt, but you can't make it do it. It'll do it or it won't. But let's say, for instance, when I was a Charlotte police officer, I was on midnight shift for about 6 years. I went to work at 11 at night, got off at 6 in the morning, 10 at night, 6 in the morning, can't remember. And I was a train wreck because my circadian rhythm never changed. Did I adapt to it? Yes, but I was still really, really tired. By the end of my 5-day cycle, when I would get 2 days off, it was actually a day and a half off, I'd sleep. And my body was trying to turn things back around because it thought, hey, man, what are you doing running around out here doing police work in the middle of the night, 12, 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning? So it didn't change. I didn't, fortunately, develop any of these other problems that I've mentioned, but one of the fortunate ones, I guess. So, no, you can't make it change. It may change, and then there's some people born with a reverse circadian rhythm. Who knows why? Nobody knows. It's genetic, I guess. Okay, quick rundown of sleep stages. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. All I'm going to tell you is right now, if you're awake, your brain's producing beta waves. If you lay down tonight, when you lay down tonight to go to sleep, then you're going to begin to produce alpha waves, slower waves. You mix them up. Beta and alphas begin to merge together, and you enter into what we call stage 1 of sleep. Stage 1. Then alpha waves completely take over. Now, we're not talking, it may take you 5 minutes. It may take you 15 minutes. Whatever the case is how your brain works. So alpha waves begin to be predominant. That's stage 2. After you spend 20, 30 minutes in stage 2, so you enter into stage 3, theta waves. I want you to look something up. They're called sleep spindles. Sleep spindles. Look that up. See what those are. Those begin to be produced in stage 3. That's a deep stage of sleep. 1 and 2 are light stages of sleep. I can wake you up in stage 1. I can wake you up in stage 2. Once you've begun to produce theta waves, stage 3, I'm going to have a difficult time getting you awake. And then you're going to enter into delta waves, stage 4. Stage 4, I'm going to have a whale of a time getting you awake. That's the deepest level of sleep that exists. It's also the most restorative. So I'm repairing things here. Now, I didn't say resting, did I? I'm repairing things in stage 4. The end of stage 3, stage 4. My body is in a state of repair here. Very deep sleep. Very, very deep sleep. Stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. Those are called NREM sleep. NREM means non-rapid eye movement because your eyes aren't moving much. Simple as pie. Now, where do I go from stage 4? Do I go to stage 5? No, I don't. I go backwards. I go from 4 to 3. I go from 3 to 2. And then as I'm headed toward 1, my brain goes, hold on, I'm going to do this. And it enters into what we call REM sleep, R-E-M. You don't make it all the way to stage 1. REM sleep, occurring between stage 1 and 2, sometimes occurring more toward 1 than 2. What's called also paradoxical sleep. Why? Because you're half asleep and you're half awake, if you want to put it that way. And guess what occurs here? Dreaming. You don't really dream in stages 1 through 4. You can have broken, fragmented dreams that you probably won't even remember. There's no storyline dream in the NREM stages. But when you hit REM sleep, boom, the floodgates open and away you go. This is the most restful sleep that you have in these stages. This is where your brain organizes stuff. It takes stuff you've learned, stores it, tries to make sense out of it, develops memories. So REM sleep, paradoxical sleep. And then what happens to me? Do I wake up? Sometimes. Most of the time, you start back through the cycle. You hit 3 or 4 of these cycles a night. Depends on how long you sleep and how long each stage works. Excuse me, how long it lasts. It may last 10 minutes, may last 25. It's just individual. Depends also, were you interrupted in any one of these stages? It depends on a lot of things. Sometimes you will spend more time in REM sleep than any other sleep. Babies do, for instance, because that's restful sleep. But it also incorporates some repair. Stage 4 is repair. I'll wake you up. If I can get you awake out of stage 4, when we let you go back to sleep, you're going to spend a lot of time in stage 4 and then start repeating the cycles. So you can read more about sleep stages. Depending on the researcher, I'm sorry, I got tickled. Depending on who you Google, make sure if you do Google it that you don't that you get a reliable source. So those are the 5 stages. 5th stage is not called stage 5 because it really isn't. It's becomes kind of a stage 1.5, so to speak. By the way, you're mixing beta and alpha waves here. So it's easy to wake you up. Very easy to wake you up. Your dreams can wake you up, especially if it's a nightmare. I want you to Google dream theories, please, and look for Freudian's descriptions. I want you to look at sleep theories. There are not many of those, a couple. And that'll wrap up the unit on sleep. Now, let me backtrack a moment to stress. I hope that you've taken that seriously, particularly the parts about burnout. I would like for you, although there won't be tests on this per se, not a big test, I would like for you to look over sensation and perception pretty seriously. You'll find that there's a lot of information there. I'm trying to remember if there are questions on the exam, on the test, on the quiz, I'm sorry. At any rate, look those over. Your guide will tell you what chapters, of course, to read in the syllabus. All right, so that's a long one. That's close to 30 minutes. Please watch this whole thing. I know it gets bored. Log out of it for a while. Go drink a Coca-Cola and come back and finish it up. But please do finish this whole thing because there's a lot of information there. The next time we get together, we're going to be talking about learning, and that's going to be ready because that's going to be a long one. A lot of information there, and the information that you need. You need all this, really. We got several others we won't have, but after this week, 3 weeks, and boom, we're out of here. So let's put forth the effort. I'm proud of you guys. Keep it up.